Our fire danger today is very similar to conditions a decade ago when crews battled one of the largest wildfires northwest Wisconsin has ever seen.
The Germann Road Fire started near Gordon on May 14, 2013. Eventually, authorities determined it was a spark from a logging crew cutting trees nearby that started it.
The fire ended up burning about 7,500 acres in Douglas and Bayfield counties and forced many in its path to evacuate. Thankfully, no one was hurt, but the fire destroyed more than 100 buildings, including 23 homes. It took 2 days to get it under control. Northern News Now's Laura Lee breaks down what authorities learned from the Germann Road Fire and how those lessons could help save you and your home a decade later.
Wisconsin DNR leaders say the conditions the day of the Germann Road Fire broke out a decade ago was the perfect storm. It was dry, winds were gusting up to 20 miles per hour, and there was very low moisture in the jack pine tree population, which created a perfect ignition source for the fire to spread quickly. Shortly after the fire, the DNR began studying how they could protect homes in case conditions like these were to fuel another large wildfire. They took a close look at all of the structures that burned. Ben Garrett is a wildland urban interface specialist with the Wisconsin DNR, a position actually born out of the Germann Road Fire. He says they found the homes that were destroyed ended up having dry debris within 30 feet of the structures. Now, given those findings, Garrett says there are simple steps you can take now to prevent a worst-case scenario down the road.
Getting the pine trees out of there, mowing the lawn, raking the needles and all of that sort of maintenance thing is one of the most important things you can do to protect your structure.
Garrett says getting away from flammable siding and roofing material can also protect your home. He added the DNR also changed its wildfire fighting tactics in the wake of the Germann Road Fire. Garrett says now they put a bigger emphasis on having their fire partners follow the fire, since their research shows it's often hot spots that have a greater impact on structures. Back to you.
Thank you, Laura. With conditions tonight similar to what we saw 10 years ago, Garrett says he hopes they don't see a fire break out this week, but they are prepared if one does. He says they have every piece of equipment they owned staffed. Fire departments are on standby, and so are railroads. Garrett also wants to remind people that because of the conditions, burn permits in our area are suspended right now.